Hi everyone. I'm not sure if there's anyone online yet. Um, can you guys see me? Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Rashmi. Rashmita, this is Lekha here.
Hiya.
One of the attendees of today's session.
Yes,
I
tell
just
me.
wanted to know because I haven't received any sign-up information.
Are you on Gmail?
I have. Sorry?
What is your email address on Gmail?
Yeah, it's r.rekhs@gmail.com.
And you've signed, you got the Eventbrite registration and everything, yeah? Your
Yes.
name was in the confirm
Yes.
list. Have you checked your social
Yes.
folder?
No.
Check.
It's Google Hangout, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can just see group, the contacts, and
In Gmail, you don't have a social or like promotions, social primary inbox like that, you don't have?
just a moment.
Let me see if there's a link.
Has the session started?
We're just starting now, actually. I mean, I'm waiting just for people to join in.
Okay.
I'm just
Social.
also. So on your inbox, on the top, when you're on inbox, on the top, there should be like 3 aspects, right? Primary, social, promotions.
Yes.
So when you click on social, there is no Google Hangout, Google Plus invitation over there.
You have just shared Google Plus Excel training session.
Yeah, so open that.
Okay.
And then there should be a link over there to join or to click on at least the event.
It just says view or the comment on Rashmita's event. Then
Yeah, click on view event.
yeah, now I can see your profile in there. I mean, yes, formatting groups. So how do I join in now? Are you going to watch? Yeah. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Say yes.
Okay. I did.
Okay, so now you can see a video?
Yes.
You can see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
No problem. And if you've got any questions during the session, I'm going to probably...
Okay.
I'm going to share the screen.
Okay.
I think you can hear it twice because it's echoing in the video as well. So yeah. Okay, fine. So bye. Hey guys, so far we've only got 2 viewers. So we've got about 40 signups. So I'm just gonna wait for another 5-10 minutes for it to for people to figure out how to get in, and after that I'll start the session. Just on the left hand side, you guys will be able to see a chat button and a screen Q&A button. If you press the Q&A, you'll be able to ask questions while the session is going on. So if you've got any issues or you're not able to understand something, you can ask a question there. Alternatively, you can just call my mobile. I will put you on speaker, and some they'll also be able to hear your question. I will request you to put me on mute so it doesn't come twice, and then I can try and answer the questions as well. So I'm just going to give it another 5 minutes, and then we'll kick off. Okay, I'm going to kick off now because it's 5 minutes past 7. So I hope you girls can see me. And I'm just going to share a screen of Excel. And I want you girls to be able to tell me as well. Can you see my screen now? The Excel sheet. Can everybody see it? Can you just type yes in the chat window if you can see it? Okay. Actually, I've not got any messages to say that whether the screen is visible to you guys or not. So I'm just trying to figure it out because there's no point in carrying on if you can't see my Excel sheet on the screen. Hello? Hiya. Hiya. Okay, so you can see me though on the video, yeah? And you can see the Excel as well. Okay, brilliant, brilliant. I'm so glad you told me. Now I can at least proceed with it. Thank you so much. Okay, okay, great. Thank you. So I'll just proceed with the Excel then. Okay. So you'll actually do me a favor. Will you just text me if you can see the changes I'm making in the Excel as well, so that I can see that people are following what I'm doing? Just text me that you can. Right now I've not made any change, but like okay, at the moment if I'm writing something, um, yeah, okay, I'll just try it now. So if in the age range there, I'm just writing something. Say, uh, can you see? Yeah. Now in in cell N3. I'm typing. One second, just hold on. Hello? Yeah, I've got okay, so sorry, what are you saying? Okay, okay, great. Okay, I'm just going to proceed then, okay? Okay, the chat option is on the right hand side. If you just move, sorry, on the left, on your mouse, there should be a chat, but like on this, it should be a sort of a toolbar with the camera. Quick Q&A should be written on that, either on the right, left, or bottom, somewhere, depending on how your settings are. You should be able to see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So the Q&A is there for, you can use that for questions, or the chat also is over there on the same place. So you can use that for chat. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to proceed now. All because we've already gotten quite late. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Call me back if you've got any questions in the middle. Okay. Okay. Bye. Okay, girl. So the first task over here is formatting. So now, I think formatting is a very useful thing to do because it sometimes make things very easy to. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't get invite to join the Google Hangout. I'm on your list today attendees.
Have you got the Eventbrite registration?
Yeah, I did register even right.
Are you on on Gmail?
Yeah, I'm on Gmail.
Check your social over there.
Okay. Can you give me the search option for the Google Hangout because I put a registration at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just have to proceed with the section with the session now. So if when you join in, if you've got any questions, you can call me because people are watching. So now I just need to proceed. Okay. But if you have any questions in the middle, then call me.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. Bye. Okay, so for formatting, the easiest thing to do is to highlight all the cells so that you want to format in a certain color. So the exercise one says format the cells. So you'll highlight everything. Click on a color you want to format it. So say blue, and that will make it blue color. Another small tip is if you want to select the whole row all together, you can press Control, Shift, and your side mouse button, and then press Control Shift bottom. That will highlight everything that is there in your data without any space. And then you can highlight that a different color. So now you can see you've got your header as dark blue and the rest of your data as light blue. And it makes it sometimes slightly easier to read, or for whatever reason you might want to label something in a certain way or highlight some things in a certain color. It's very simple. That's the way to do it. So is everyone clear on that? I'm just going to open up the chat window to make sure there are no questions or anything on there. And the Q&A session. Okay, cool. So no questions on that. Yeah, that is very basic. So it's cool. I'll carry on with the next bit. So the next exercise over here is conditional formatting. So what is conditional formatting? Okay, now let me give you a bit of a raw idea about what this data is. So over here you can see order number, order date, name, surname, quantity, ticket type. So basically it is sort of an event-based database where people from have bought tickets for an event. So I've actually used this from one of my past events, but I've changed the information. So it's not real information. Apart from the names, everything else is dummy data. So now what you can do is now, for example, I want to sort the data. So how do we sort data? Okay, I can see that some people have bought 2 tickets. In column E2 there is 2. Some people have bought 8 tickets. Now what I want to do is I want to sort this whole data so that I can see the maximum number of people on the top and the lowest number of people at the bottom. That way, I've got my high buyers on the top and my low buyers at the bottom. So how will I go about doing that? So the first thing that you have to do when sorting the data is you select all the data that you want to sort. You have to make sure you select the entire data range. Otherwise, it will only sort certain columns, which is not what you want. So first you select everything that you want to sort, your whole data range. Okay. Then you go into, on the top of Excel, you have file, home, insert, page layout, formulas. There is also data option on the top. So you click on data, and once you click on data, you will see the option of sort. If you click on that option, you will see a dialog box will open. So there over here, you have over here already an option where it's asking you to with what do you want to sort? Do you want to sort by code or anything else like that? Now, can you see a small box on the top over here? It says my data has headers. What does that mean? That means that Excel automatically on its own has identified that your top row doesn't really have your data that you want. It actually has the data field. For example, A1 means order number. So order number A1 doesn't have an actual number of your order. It actually has a title. So it already has identified on its own that your first row is your first row is a header. Now, for sometimes it may not be the case, so you can always deselect that, and then it will only ask you to sort from column M or A or B or C. But in this case, we wanted to sort by a certain header, so we will select it again, and we will say my data has headers. Now, in this instance, what do I want to do? I want to sort my data by quantity because I want the total number of most people who bought the most number of tickets on the top, and I want the people who bought the least number of tickets at the bottom. So do you see this drop down box over here? It says sort by, but I don't want to sort by code. I want to sort by quantity. So I will click on this drop down box and I will search for quantity. So you can see that it starts with the first one, order number, order date, first name, surname, and there it is quantity. That is the one I want to sort by. So I will click quantity. I want to sort on values. That's correct. And I want my largest quantity on the top and the smallest at the bottom. So I will click largest to smallest. If I wanted it the other way around, I click this drop down box over here again and I change it to smallest to largest. If I wanted smallest on top. But in this case, I want largest on top. So again, I will click this drop down box and change it from largest to smallest. Now I will press OK. And suddenly you will see that the order of the data has changed. So the person who's bought the most number of tickets, which is 8 tickets, is right on the top at number 8. And subsequently, if you scroll down, you will see it goes down to 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 2, and so on and so forth. So that is how you sort data in Excel. Okay, so someone is asking me to repeat the second option of doing it with the mouse. I think they wanted to, they're trying to say is how do you select all the data with your, all the data together. So basically, if you want to select all the rows, you place your mouse here on A1, and then instead of scrolling all the way down, you can press on your keyboard Control, Shift, and the down button. It will select all the rows. Similarly, in the fashion, if you press Control, Shift, and side on your keyboard, it will select all the data on your right. So it is just an easy shortcut to select everything. But you don't have to use it that way. You can even use with your mouse and just scroll whatever you want that is relevant to you. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Shruti. I think it was Shruti that asked that question. So, okay, so now I want all of you to do the same exercise on your sheet, if you can, because every one of you have got this raw data with you. If you can all please sort the data by quantity and tell me that you are able to do it in the Q&As by saying yes or no. I'll give you a few minutes to sort that out. Once I feel that everyone's okay with that, if no one pings or no one calls with any questions about sorting, then I will move on to the next exercise. So I'm just giving you a few minutes now to try sorting the data by yourself. And if you're not able to do it, please use the Q&A or please call me on my mobile. Everyone has my number and I will clear any doubts. Okay, great. I can see that some of you have commented saying that it's done and it's sorted, and I haven't got any questions with any doubts. So for now, I'm going to carry on to the next bit of the exercise, which is conditional formatting. Okay, so oh, I'm getting one call, so I'm just going to take this in case it's a question about formatting. Please bear with me. Hello.
Sorry, hi, this is Raksha here.
Hi, Raksha.
So initially when I select the topmost row
Yes.
and then click on sort option.
Yes. So you have to basically click on the entire data instead of just the topmost row.
Okay, no wonder.
Yeah, that's why, because it doesn't know what to sort. So if you have only one row selected, it gets confused कि कौन सा data को हमको sort करना है. तो आप including your first row पूरा data select करो and then give it a go.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Is it working now?
Yeah, it is.
Perfect. And did you check if you can tick and untick the my data has header column to see if that changes?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, I can do that. There was another icon you were talking about while explaining this.
Okay, let me just go to that icon once more. So I'm going to first now select all my data.
Okay.
1 second. Okay, so now I've selected everything. And now I'm going to say data and go into sort. So yeah, so okay.
I don't.
Now you can see my screen that sort by is come.
No, nothing is moving. In fact, I can see your screen, but I don't see any movement there of your cursor.
I think there is a slight time lag. So
yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Okay, so basically the other
now I can see.
Now you can see, right? So you already understood the my data has headers bit. So the other icon that I was talking about is the this just largest to smallest or smallest to largest. So you can change it. That's the only thing that I was discussing, nothing else. So if you want the most number of quantities on the top, you have to click largest to smallest. Otherwise, the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got that bit.
Awesome. And another thing, while we're here, let me just add then, sometimes you want to sort on two things. So can you see the add levels button over there as well? Can you see it? Add level is there.
Add level, yes.
Yes. So if you click on add level, now you'll see another row has appeared below quantity. Did you click on add level?
1 second. Add level. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, and a row appeared below quantity?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can choose another.
Exactly. So then you can say you can choose first name, for example, and then you want A to Z. And then you press OK. Again, it will resort your data, but then it will have it by first name on top and second name, in alphabetical order. So in case you want to find something, it becomes easier to find. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, darling. I'm going to carry on now with conditional formatting. Okay. No problem. Right. So now we're going to move on to conditional formatting. So now conditional formatting is a is a very useful thing to have, because sometimes what you want is okay, now say I'm going to just sort the data again by just by first name, because I'm trying to, I want to know who has come, who has, like, suppose someone called Neha has bought it and I can't find her order. So I'm going to just sort it by first name. Okay. And I'm going to delete the second level. There we go. And I'm going to sort it from A to Z. So now my data is sorted from A to Z. Now in here, I want at a glance to know that which which person has bought a lot of tickets and which person has bought only one ticket, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my quantity column, which is column E. I'm going to highlight the whole column, and then I am going to go into conditional formatting, because I want at a glance to see anyone who's bought more than ticket, their cell should be a different color, and anyone who's not bought more than one ticket, which means they've bought only one, I want their cell to just remain the normal color. So actually first what I'm going to do is just remove this blue, because otherwise it will be slightly confusing. So I'm just going to go into, I'm going to remove this blue color and just make it no fill, just make it normal. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my quantity column. So I have just highlighted the column E, which is my quantity column. Then I go into formatting. Okay, now guys, everyone might have a different version of Excel. So some of you might see format on the top over here, and some of you who have the same version as Excel for me might see format when you're on the home button, you might see the conditional formatting tool over here on the top. So if you can see it over there, you click on conditional formatting and then you click on new rule. So then you will see a small pop-up opens when you click on new rule. Okay, so once that happens, you will click on the second option over here. So at the moment, the default is whoever is calling me, I'm just going to finish explaining this first. And after I finish explaining this, I will then take a phone call to clear any doubts. So just hang up for now and give me a call again once more after I've just finished through this section. Okay. So basically, you click on the second one over here that says format only cells that contain. Once you click on that, you will get over here format only cells with an option, cell values between blah and blah. But I am not interested in that. I want anything more than one to be green color, and I want anything that is one to be normal color. So what I'm going to do is, where over here I say cell value, I will leave it as that. I will click on this drop down icon over here and I will say greater than, because I want, if it's greater than 1, I wanted to do something, right? So I have changed that drop down box to greater than. Then in my space over here, I will click there and I will write 1. Okay, so now Excel has understood what my condition needs to be. That cell value greater than 1. Okay, fine. I've said cell value greater than 1. Now what? Now you click on the format button over here. So you click on format and then it will open up. Okay, how do you want to format it? So I will click on the fill tab over here. I wanted to fill anything that's greater than 1 with green. So I will go to my green color over here, select that, and then I will say okay. So now it will give a preview over here. You can see that the section that I'm circling with my mouse, it shows green color. And then I will say okay. Immediately after that, you will see that anything that is greater than 1 in the quantity tab is highlighted to green, and anything that is 1 is not highlighted in any color. It is just the normal color. Okay, so if I'm just going to go through that once more for those of you that found it slightly confusing. So the first step is to click on conditional formatting. The next step is to click on new rule. The next step is to go to the second option over there that says format only cells that contain. Cell value is fine. Click the drop down box, make it greater than. We want to say it's greater than 1, so enter the value over there. Click on the format option. It's already on fill, as that's what it remembered it to be. If I want, I can change the color to anything from green to say yellow even, and say okay. Then it will give me a preview. That's fine. I'll say okay again. Oops, now that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Because I had not selected the column I want that to work on. So that is the reason why it only changed this particular cell to yellow, which which I didn't want it to do. So I'm going to press Control Z. And the mistake I made was I did not select my full column E where I wanted to apply the conditional formatting. So if I do that once more very quickly, I click on New Rule. I click on Cell Value. I say Cell Greater Than. I say 1. I say Format. I change it to yellow. I say OK, OK again, and you'll see it's changed all the greens to yellows. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to remember, that when you're doing conditional formatting, always we need to have the column highlighted in which we want to apply the conditional formatting. All right, so now it's question time. First, I want you to have a go at trying to do this yourself. And if you are not able to do this or you're getting stuck anywhere,
they should write the steps, otherwise they will forget tomorrow if they don't practice.
Yes, if you're not able to do it or you get stuck anywhere, you can either ask me a question in the question answer section, or you can ask me a question by giving me a call.
They should write the, why don't you tell them to write down the steps as you tell them, and then they can try with that.
Raksha, you said you're not able to see the box that I'm talking about. If you want, you can phone me and I'll try and clarify. Or basically, the box is, if you go to your next to your on the top where it says File, Home, Insert. So make sure you're on the Home button, and on the Home button near your General and Stuff, there will be a conditional formatting button over there. In my version of Excel. In some other versions of Excel, if you give me a call, I will try and explain to you. Hello? Hello? Hi, may I know who this is? Raksha? Okay, hi Raksha, tell me. Yes, yes. So, oh, okay. What happens after you press conditional formatting on your screen? Okay. What? Yes. No, data is only for sorting. So go on the home button. Next to data, there's formulas, page layout, insert, and then home, right? So go to home, and now you should be able to see conditional formatting. Now click on that. Yes, so first click on the column that you want to format, and then click on conditional formatting. And then now did a box pop up? No problem, that's fine. Did you click on new rule? Okay, now that you've clicked on new rule, can you see the second option that says format only cells that contain? Yeah. So then where it says cell value and you see between, click on that drop down box and make it greater than. And then in the column next to it, put 1. And then say format. And then say go to fill next to border or font. Can you see fill on the top? And then choose any color that you'd like your, yeah, and then say okay. And then say okay again. And you should be able to see a change in color. Yeah, did it work? Okay, perfect. Okay, so that was conditional formatting. All right, cool. Now we'll move on to the next option. Okay, so the next thing on the list The next thing on the list, okay, is sorting. We've already done sorting, so we're not going to go do that again. I think I just changed the order around a little bit, so that's fine. Okay, so now sometimes what we need to do is we need to create a copy of this sheet. So that is a very simple thing to do. You know, where it says raw data at the bottom, you can see the name of your sheet at the bottom. It will say raw data. You right click on that sheet. You will see a small pop up. Click on move or copy. When you do that, another box will open and click on create a copy. Say OK, and you will see another sheet is created in your Excel version, and it's called raw data 2. Now what you can do is you can right click on the new sheet that's been created, click on rename, and then you can call it whatever you want. So you can call it copy of raw data. Yeah, that's quite simple enough to do. Did everyone get that? Okay, so since no one has said anything, I'm assuming that everyone has managed to make a copy of the sheet and rename it as well. Okay, good. Now I have got two sheets that are identical. If I want any changes, if I make now a change in one sheet, the other sheet will not be affected. So it's a good way to basically have a reference. But what if I want both sheets to do the exact same thing? So in that case, what you can do is group the sheets. So what you have to do is you press the control button on your keyboard. You then click on your second sheet as well, and you will see that it's grouped. You right click and you say ungroup, you will see it ungroups. So basically what you have to do is you have to click two sheets by pressing control. Either that will automatically group it, or you can right click and say ungroup, or you click pressing control and then that will group it. Does that work for everyone? Grouping and ungrouping. Can you all try it for me, please? Okay, so that was simple enough. Right, now we are going to basically go to the second thing called a sum if function. Okay. Actually, I think first we'll do concatenate. So now we're going to go to exercise number 7. I'm just going to do a bit of jumping around because that is slightly easier. So now, girls, if you go to towards the left, you will see there is a first name column and a last name column. Now I want the first name and the last name both in one column. I don't want it to be separate. So at the moment, the first name is in C2 and the last name is in D2. I want the full name to be in Q2. So in this column, I want in this bit to be Akshay Patil. So how do I get in this column both fields of data in one place? Yeah. So that's a very simple, it's called concatenation. It's quite a long, complicated term, but to do it is actually very simple. Concatenation simply means merging two columns so that you're joining them together to have one column. So to do that, what you have to do is first thing you go into the column where you want to have this data, your concatenated data. So in our case, it is column Q2. You say equals, then you click on your cell C2, which has your first name. Then you put the and column, the and thing, sign. So if you press shift and 7, you'll get the and sign. Yeah. and then you click on your surname, which is the second column that you want to merge together. That is it. So when you've done that, you should have something that looks like equals C2 and D2. Once you press enter, you will see that in this column, you have the first name and the last name as Akshay Patel in one column. Can everyone try that for me and see that it works? If it doesn't work, either you can write something in the questions or you can give me a call. I'll give you a few seconds to try that. Okay, so I think everyone is okay with that because no more questions have come in on this. So now one thing you might be thinking is that, okay, this is got a full name over here, but there is no space between the full name. It's not looking very neat. I mean, it all looks like one word. So, we don't want it like that. What we would want is first name space, last name in the same column. So now we're going to make a small change in our concatenating statement to get a space. Now I'm going to delete what I have just done. And I'm going to do the same thing but with a space. So now I'm going to say equal to. I'm going to go to the first name again, which was my C2 column because I wanted to start with that. Then I'm going to do my and again. Now, instead of putting the surname directly, first what I'm going to do is put a space. So I will put quotes, put a space bar, close my quotes, then press and again, and then choose my surname. So now what it will look like is equals C2, open quotes, put a space, close quotes, and symbol again, and then your D2. You press enter, and now you will see that it's formatted correctly. Yeah. So you will have a nice space in between your first name and your surname. Now this is only done for the first row, but I want this for all my rows, right? So the easy way to copy this formula down is hover your mouse towards the corner of the cell until a small plus comes. Once you see the small plus, you click, you keep your mouse clicked, and you drag it down all the way to the bottom of your data. You let go, and you will see that it has done it for all the rows. You double click between Q and R. It will make the row bigger, so you will easily be able to see your concatenated full name in one cell. Okay, so do you girls want to try that for me and see if it works? If I'm going too fast or too slow, you can also in the question section write and tell me that, like, please slow down, Rashmita. I'm not able to do on time, or, actually we're getting it really quickly or going too slowly, just speed up. So feel free to give me some guidance in terms of my speed and in terms of how I'm going. And if it's okay, then just leave it. That's also okay. Then I'll just carry on the way I'm going on right now. Please don't feel shy to ask questions because that's how we learn. So if it's not working for you, I'll really prefer if you can just ask it or give me a call, because if you don't, then I won't know that you've not got it and I won't be able to help you. So if you have got it, great, thumbs up, fantastic. If not, don't hesitate at all in terms of asking me, Ki Rashmita, I'm not really clear in terms of exactly what you did here or there. Okay. All right. So I think since no more questions are coming in and no calls have come in, it seems that everybody has understood how to do this concatenation. Now I'm just going to teach you one more small tip. Um, if you firstly you should know how to insert rows. Now over here I want another row before my explanation and everything starts. So the way to do it, if you want to insert a row, is you right click on the row or like this. It will give you lots of options. You press insert. So now if you scroll down to column R13, you will see that Avipsa Das, this name is in it's not, her first name is not in capital, like A is small and B is also small, and you want it to be nice and you want the letters to be capital. So what you can do is you can put equals proper, you open a bracket, you go into the column name, close the bracket, press enter, and you will see it automatically. Wherever there is a space, it will make the first letter capital and it will keep everything else small. So that way, all your data will be formatted in a nice and easy way where you've always got the first letter after every space capital and everything else small. So that is just a small trick to make your data look slightly neater. So I'll just do that again. All you have to do is equals to, write the word proper, which is a function, PROPER, open a bracket, put the column reference of the one you want to change, close your bracket and press enter. And it will change that for you. So that's just a small trick in case you want to, do it like that. And then you can obviously drag and drop. So if it's already like that, it won't change anything. But if it's not like that, then it will change it to make it proper. For example, now in cell R22, you will see that it automatically made the surname of Asir capital A, even though in the raw data, it is small a. Yeah. In a very similar fashion, if you want to have all caps or something like that, you can do things like equals, upper, and then the row column, and it will make it all caps. If you want it to be all small, you can do equals, lower, choose the column, it will make it all small. So you can just play around with the formatting like that in terms of, how you want to do certain things. Okay, so that was how I've finished concatenating. I've finished showing you how to make it proper. Now we're going to do some additional sums. So great, okay, I can see I've got my quantity over here nicely sorted in with conditional formatting. It's telling me more, but I actually want to know how many tickets have I sold in total, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the data. So that's over here in cell E97. This is my quantity table. Okay, so should I teach them? We'll show you how to lock it as well in a bit. So then over here, I will do equals sum, SUM, open brackets, and then you have to select the range of the column you want to sum. So you start from your first row of data, which is your Akshay Patil that you started with, and you go all the way down to E96, which is your last row. Make sure you close your bracket, press enter, and you have a total over here. That is 190. So that means that there were total 190 tickets sold for this event. Is everyone clear on that? I'll do it one more time. So I'm calculating a total right now. I will say equals sum, open bracket. I want to start right from the top of my quantity and go right to the bottom. Yeah, so that's E2 to E96. I close my bracket, I press enter, and it shows me the number 190. Everyone clear with that? Can everyone do the sum of their own quantities and make sure they get the same answer? Okay. So if you haven't got the same answer or if that's slightly confusing, let me know and I'll tell you. Another useful thing to do in Excel is calling something like freeze panes, because when you go down, you can't see what's on top. So how do you know, where is your quantity, where is your name, which column is what? It can get slightly confusing. So what we're going to do is you place your mouse on cell A1. Your column is in A1. You go to your view on the top. So, you have home, data, where you had data. Next to data is review. Next to review is view. Click on view and then click on freeze panes. You'll have three options. Click on the First option. Now, when you scroll all the way down, nope. Again, let's try that again. You go on to freeze panes and say freeze top row, which is the second option. So that means now the top row is frozen. So even when you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you can see on the top of the column which one is saying quantity, which one is saying ticket type, which one is saying first name and last name. So it becomes easy to identify what your what which columns you're dealing with, even when you're not at the top. Does that make sense? Again, girls, I really don't want to go on a tangent if this is not clear or if you're not understanding. So if it's not making sense, then please put a question or give a call so I can explain slightly better. Okay. Now, if I want to get the same thing, okay, I've done the sum of the quantity. I know it's 190. We had done that earlier. We had done equals sum of, yeah. Now, a very useful thing to do. Now, suppose I want the sum of my total paid, which is my age column, right? How do I do that? Oh, 1 second, I'm getting a call. Hello? Hello? Yes. No, just one screen. Yeah. Girls, can any one of you just let me know if you all can see the options when I'm clicking the screen? Because one of the ladies is not able to do that. So if it's a universal thing, then I'll try and do something else. Otherwise, I can take it through her separately later on. Could you just let me know if you all can see everything clearly? I'm not sure, Araksha. They're not saying anything. Okay. No, thanks for doing that. If you are getting stuck because you can't see the options, just call me and I'll guide you through the options like I did for the sorting and stuff. Okay. For now, you're fine. Okay. So you're okay with the additions and everything, yeah? All right. Okay. Thank you. Bye. So now, if I want to know the total amount of the total paid event, great. Neha has said that yes, she can see it. Thank you, Neha. You're my star. At least I'm getting comments from you, so I'm feeling a bit relaxed that someone is at least following and listening to what I'm saying. So really, thank you very, very much, Neha. I really appreciate that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the total paid column. So what you can do is instead of typing every time the same thing equals sum bracket open, what you can do is you can go to the quantity where you've already typed the whole thing, press Control C, which is copy, and then go to your column H and then press Control V, which is paste. You will see that it automatically applies the same sum function to that column. So it will not copy the number 190, it actually copies the sum. And you can do the same thing for the next column, which is the fees column. And you should get the number 81.52. Does that work for everyone? Okay. So addition is fairly simple. You can do lots of things in a similar fashion. You can do average. What is the so you know how we had equals sum? You can do equals average. So you say equals, you write the word average, you open the bracket. Again, you select the whole range of the column that you want the average for. You close your bracket, you press enter, and it shows over here 24.67916. That means the average price for all the tickets is about 24 pounds. Now, if you want to take the format, now over here it says 2334.52. For me, that just looks like a very untidy number. I actually want that in currency format. So I'm going to show you how to format that now. So you press right click, you click on format cells, you click on a number is already selected, you click on currency. I don't want any decimal places and I don't want dollar symbol. I want pound symbol. So where the symbol is there, you try and find pound. In my laptop, I don't seem to have pound. It only has dollars. Okay, so let's assume it's dollars. And then you press OK. And you will see that it automatically changes the format. It takes the decimal places out and you get a nice dollar sign next to that. So you can try that. You can put dollars. You can put anything you want really. So that's how you do it. Okay, fine. So that is basically simple formatting and doing sums. Now what I want to do is I want to do a sum if function. So what is a sum if? So a sum if means, now you can see over here, if you go to column F and just make it slightly big, there are two types of, to column G, there are two types of tickets. One is PayPal completed and one is paid with cash. I want to know what is my total number of tickets that were PayPal completed, and I want to know what is my total number of tickets that were paid with cash. Now I can't sit and count manually, right? So what am I going to do? So first I'm just going to go towards a bottom over here. And I'm going to say, okay, I want to know my PayPal tickets over here and my cash tickets over here. So I don't want the sum of all of them. I only want the sum where my column G is PayPal completed. Okay. So here I will say equals sum if. So you write sum if at the full word, you open a bracket and then you highlight the full column which has your criteria. Basically, I want to know, right? I only want where it's PayPal. So where is my PayPal written or whether it's cash is written in column G. So first I will highlight column G. Then I will put a comma. Then I will open my quotation marks and I will say, okay, I want where it's only PayPal completed. That is what is written in my data. I will close my quotes. I will put another comma and then I will highlight. I want to know total number of tickets bought by this PayPal. So that's my quantity column. So I will highlight my quantity column, which is my column E. Again, all the way to the bottom. All the way up to 96. I will close my brackets and I will press enter. So that means out of my total 190 tickets that I can see that I've sold over here, 82 were PayPal and how many were cash? Let's see. Let's try and do the same thing for cash. So it will become a slight revision for you. I'm going to do it slowly so that you can observe what I'm doing and then you can try this again on your own screens. So we'll say equal to, what are we going to do first? First, we're going to choose the column which has our data that we want to measure. That is our column G. So we select that full row from 2. Then we say what condition do we want to do it, and we have to do that in quotes. So we are going to say now we are counting our cash tickets. So we will write paid with cash, and we will close our quotes, and this has to be exactly the same as what is written in your data. So with no spelling differences, yeah. Then you press another column, and again, what do we want to sum? We want to sum the number of tickets. So we will go to the E column, which has our number of tickets. Again, we will select that full row all the way from 2 to 96. We will close our brackets. We will press enter. I have not written sum if. We will press enter, and that will give you your total cash tickets. All right. So now if we want to total these two, we'll say again equals, say the top cell plus the cell above that. You press enter and you get 190. Now that is the same as your total on the top. So you know it's done correctly and it's not missing anything. Now we will try and calculate percentages. Yes, Neha, you're absolutely right. I had not mentioned sum if, which is why I was previously getting an error. So then if I wrote sum if, that sort of corrects it. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Now I want to know, out of this 190, I know 82 is PayPal, but what percentage is that? So what I'm going to do is do equal to my column C105, where I've got my 82, divided by my total over here, and press enter. I'll do the same for my cash. But now this is in decimal place. I want this in a percentage format. So I will highlight these two columns that I want to change to percentage. On my home, make sure you're on your home screen. You will see a percentage sign over here under your just next on the left of your conditional formatting. You click on percentage and that immediately changes to percent. So now you can see out of all the tickets you sold, 43% were PayPal and 57% was cash. Now you might want to represent that in terms of a diagram. How will you do that? You highlight your two percentages that you want to show a chart. You say insert. Next to home, you have insert. It's not letting me. It's not letting me select a pie chart. I'm not really sure why. So it looks like there is some issue with my version of Excel, but if you try this on your computers, you should be able to do this. If you highlight 43 and 57, just two rows, go into insert, you should be able to see a pie chart option. Click on pie chart and it will immediately insert a pie chart where it will be splitting it into 43 and 57. So that gives you a very visual way to understand what percentage of your sales was PayPal and what percentage of your sales was cash. I know why it's not letting me do it. It's because my sheets are grouped at the bottom. So now everything that I've been doing on both on one is going to come on my copy as well as my original. If I right click now and say ungroup sheets, you'll see that even on your other sheet, everything you've done is replicated. Yeah. So now go back to your normal sheet. Again, click 43 and 57. Click insert. And now if you click pie chart, if it's not grouped, click a pie and there you will see. So now, okay, a pie chart is made, but I can't really see what this means. Right click, say select data. Click edit on your horizontal axis and say PayPal and cash. Say okay, say okay. Now you know that one is PayPal and one is cash. And you can see how the distribution is there. So 57% of your sales are cash, 43% is PayPal. It becomes much clearer. You can write a title to say sales type over here. And that way you get a nice little pie chart which you can do in your presentations, from your raw data to present to your managers so they can get a visual in terms of how their total sales performance has been. Did everyone get that? Okay. Are you guys trying this on your screen? Because the SumIf is quite a complicated, not complicated, but it's slightly more difficult than the normal things. So I just want to really make sure that you'll have all tried the SumIf on your own screens, and you'll have all got number 82 for PayPal and 108 for cash, and you'll have been able to really follow what I've done. So once y'all have had a chance at doing this, can you just in the question answer session put yes or no so I know whether y'all have got it or not? That will be really good. Great. Okay, fine. So Neha seems to have got it. That's really, really good. I'm not sure if the rest of you girls are following or not, but since I'm not getting any phone calls or questions, I'm assuming that you've understood it. Okay. Girls, at any point, if you feel that this is too much to digest and you need a break, just let me know, and I will try and take a break or whatever. Okay. So let's go. So now we've sorted format. We've done formatting. We've done conditional formatting. We've done sorting of data. We've learned how to create a new sheet. We've learned how to calculate the total number of tickets by order type using SumIf. Okay. Now what I'm going to teach again, what I'm going to teach you is an if function. This is a very useful function to try and determine, sometimes manipulate the data in a certain way that you want it. So now in column K, you'll see that there is an age range of all the attendees. So the first person is Akshay Patil, and you can see that the age over there is 21. Now these are all dummy ages. It doesn't represent true ages necessarily. I've put all random data in here. So no need to get too happy if you see your name over there with 18 next to it. It's all dummy data. So now I want my data to be split into two ranges. If someone is between 18 to 25, in my age range column, I wanted to say 18 to 25. And if they are over 25, I wanted to say 25 to 35, because over here only people are there between 18 to 35. No more are there. Everyone is between that age. So how do I do that? How do I split this into the range that I want? So there is a very useful function known as equals if function. So that is what we're going to use now to define what the range in column n should be. So now I'm going to say equals if, bracket open, if cell K2 is less than 26, because I want 25 inclusive, then I want to put a certain value. So I open quotes and I want to put 18 to 25, and I close my bracket. So if you just close it and you press enter, see what happens. This guy is 21. Yeah. So over here, the range has come 18 to 25. Does that make sense to everyone? So let's do that again slowly. You'll say equals if, open bracket, cell K2, which is the age range for this cell, put a comma. What if it is less than, so that is your less than sign is your, like this, you put 26. Then what do you want it to put in this cell? You open quotes, you say 18 to 25, or you can even put under 20, under 26, Whatever you want to put, you can put over here. You can say under 26. You close your quotes, you close your brackets, you press enter, and you will see that it is populated it with what you have said. Is everyone happy with that? Now, if you drag this like with a small cross one underneath here, it just puts false. Why is it put false? Because you have told him that if the age is less than 26, put under 26. But you've not told this poor thing that if it's more than 26, what should it do? It doesn't know. So that is why it's just put false, which means it's not under 26. Now, we don't want that. What we want is if it is more than 25 years old, we wanted to put over 26. So now we're just going to edit this formula slightly. What we're going to do is, if K2 is less than 26, then put in quotes under 26, then we'll put another comma, which means if this condition is not satisfied, then what should it put over there? You can say over 26. You close your quotes again, your brackets are already closed, you press enter. Now when you drag this down by 1, you will see because it's 30 in your age over here, it is put over 26. I'm going to give you girls some time to try this on your screens and tell me if you're able to do it or not. Okay. Did that work? Yes, no, still trying. Okay, good. I'm going to carry on. So now you can just drag and drop the whole thing till the bottom, and you will be able to see that it is correctly classified the age, whether they're over 26 or under 26. So that is how you use if functions. So now this if function is quite powerful. You can do it for anything. I mean, and you can have a lot of permutations and combinations. But I think for this session, we're just going to stick with a simple if function, which I've already done. Okay. So now, as an exercise that you can do as homework later, in column P, there is a ticket quantity option. So if they've sold only one ticket, I wanted to fill just single. If it sold 2 to 5 tickets, I wanted to sell I wanted to put the option few, and if it sold 5 or more tickets, I wanted to put the option many. So I'm going to show you how to do this because this is 3 variations. Before it was just 1 variation, so it became a bit easy. What if there are 3 variations? What will you do, right? So, and then I will say equals if, open my bracket. Now I will go to my quantity of tickets column. Okay, so here I will say if E2 equals 1, then I want to put single. And if it is not equal to 1, then normally you would put double, multiple, right? But now there is a second option. So what do you do? So then you say less than 5, then put few. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Sorry, for some reason I can't see your screen anymore. Have you stopped sharing it by any chance?
Just give me 1 second. I'll try to share it again. I'll call you back, okay? Hello? Can you see my screen?
Hello?
Hi.
Rashmita?
Yes.
Rashmita, hi. I think your screen sharing is off because I can just see a photo of a couple.
Oh dear. Okay, 1 minute. I'll just check. Oh. Can you see the screen now, girls? Hi, can you see the screen now, darling? Okay, great. Okay, I'll move on then. So sorry about that. Okay. So I'm just going to move on. Okay, thanks. Bye. Okay, big apologies. I think in the middle something happened and I couldn't share the screen stopped sharing for some reason. I don't know why. But I believe now everyone can see the screen again. So basically over here, I taught you how to use the if function with only 2 options. But basically what do you do if it is 3 options? So what you'll do is as follows. So you say equals if your quantity is equal to 1, then you will put single. Okay. Now you want to carry on because now you have 2 more options, right? So if it is not equal to 1, then you want to do something else. But because you have 2 more options, you won't just write the second thing. What you will do is you will say again a comma and you will write a second if statement. So you will say if your quantity, which is your E2, oh, I've got D2 over here. Let me make that E2 as well. If your quantity is less than 5, then put few. Otherwise, put many. Okay. So now this is basically called a nested if statement. So here you only have two options, right? Under 26 and under 25. But over here, I have got three options. So now I'm just going to do that again and I'm going to do it slowly because I took some time and maybe it wasn't very clear. So now we're going to do this again. Now I want to put the word few if it is between 2 and 5 tickets. I want to put the word many if it is 5 or more tickets. I want to put the word single if it is only one ticket. So there are three options here. So here I'm going to use a nested if statement. So what I'm going to do is equals if brackets open E2, which is my quantity column, is equal to 1, which is my single ticket, then I want to put option single. Okay, and I close my quotes. Now I'm going to use a second if statement after my comma. So again, I'm going to say, because if it's not 1, then it has to do something else. What does it have to do? We're going to tell it now. So if your cell E2, which is your quantity, is less than 5 over here, right? Then you want to put option few. Close your quotes. If it is not less than 5, that means it's not 1, it's not less than 5, it must be more than 5. So in your last option, you will put many. You will close your quotes, you will close your brackets, and one more, because you've got two brackets open over there. So as many as you open, you have to make sure that many you close. You press enter and you will see this person, Akshay Patil, has bought 2 tickets. So he has got few over there. So now before you press enter, you will see the function on the top. It says if E2 equals 1, then I want to put single, comma, you are going to put a second if statement. It is less than 5, then put few, otherwise put many. Now we are going to drag this down and see if it's worked. So drag it all the way down to the end of your data up to 96. There we go. So let's go back to the top and see if it's worked. Okay. So yes, you can see Anand Shah has got 8 tickets. It's put many. Whereas Anusha has bought 1 ticket. It's only put single. So this is called a nested if statement. So can you all try the nested if statement for and see if it works for you girls? I'll give you a few moments to try the nested if statement. As soon as you finish trying it, no rush. Just drop a comment either on the chat session or the question session, letting me know that you are able to do it. If then I will proceed with the next bit on the course, which is your vlookups. Any luck? Or still trying? Um, Let me know, girls. Did that work or is it a bit complicated? I have no issues going through it once more if you're having some problems, but you have to tell me either way. Okay, since I'm not getting any comments either way, I'm not sure if you girls want me to give you some more time to try this or should I move on? What do you want me to do? Okay, I think I'm just going to move on to the next topic, which is the VLOOKUPs. If you're struggling with this, feel free to call me even after the session is finished, and I can take you through it in terms of what needs to be done. Yeah? Okay, so the next bit now is VLOOKUP tables. Okay, so what is a VLOOKUP table? Now I'm going to demonstrate this. Now this is events data, right? So now over here, you can see in column M, there is something called code. So there is 4132. What is this code? So basically, if you scroll all the way to the right, in column T and U, this code is decoded. So basically, if this person has one next to them, it means that it's their first event. If they have two next to them, it means that they've come for one or two events before. If they've got three next to them, it means that they're regular, they've come to five or more events. And if they've got four next to them, it means that all the previous events that have happened, they've attended. So what I want to understand is, like, I don't understand this 4141. It looks very complicated to me in terms of, I'm not able to, just by looking at it, it becomes hard to understand what this customer is, like whether he's regular or not. So I am going to use a VLOOKUP to populate my type, which is my O column, to try and understand what this code translates to. Okay? Okay. So how does a VLOOKUP work? Now, when you're using a VLOOKUP, you need to have a reference table. A lookup means I am using this table to look up certain information that I am going to use to populate my raw data. That is what a VLOOKUP does. Okay. So how do we use this VLOOKUP data? So now my reference table for my VLOOKUP is this table here that I've now highlighted, which is from rows T3 all the way down to U7. This is my lookup table, which will be my reference to understand what my raw data is. All right. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to use my VLOOKUP table. So I will say equals VLOOKUP. So I want my raw data to use a VLOOKUP. Now, what value should it look up? it should look up this code that I'm trying to translate for my customer, because this is what is the data that is I'm trying to find. So this 4 I have to try and find in my reference table. So I will first click on M2, which is the code that I'm trying to find. Then I will press comma. Then I will highlight the table that this is referring to. This is my lookup table. So I will highlight row T3, sorry, T4 to U7, because that is where my table that I'm referencing is stored. Okay, girls, now this is quite important. When you drag down, you have to press F4 because this locks it. I will just explain the concept of locking to those of you that are unfamiliar with it. But just remember, for now, press F4. Then I will press another comma. And in my reference table, it is the second column in my reference table which explains what kind of translation it is. So I will put 2. I want it to be an exact match. So I will write the word false. I will close my bracket and I will press enter. I will make the width of my column O slightly longer so I can see what's in it. I will, and then you can see that because this guy is a 4, he's now got committed to all previous events. Is that correct? Yes, because you can see after 4, there is a committed to all previous events. Okay, now I can appreciate that this is slightly complicated. So I'm just going to go a bit slow on this. So in a VLOOKUP, there are a certain number of things that you want to tell Excel. Okay, so first thing that you want to tell Excel is what am I trying to look up. So that will be the code in this scenario. Then you will tell Excel from where am I looking up this value. So then you will point to the table where the lookup is saved. Okay, fine. So basically all you've said is when you do the first 2 columns. So when you say equals V lookup M2 comma, and you highlight this table, it is saying I want to look up this value 4 in this table. Fine. So Excel knows it needs to find the number 4 in this table. After that, what should it do? It should now I have put 2. Why have I put 2? Because I wanted to take everything from the second column in this table. So this table, this is the first column, this is the second column, and if you want, you could even have a third column here where you can say type 3. Okay, and here it can be here, because it's a first event, you will say it's pass 1. Second event can be okay, over here you will write the same first event. Over here you just want rare, you don't want the number descriptions because it's too long. Over here you want regular, again without the number descriptions because it's too long. And here you want just committed. Okay, so now now this table has got 3 columns. Yeah, it's got your code, your type, and your type 2. Let me put type 2 properly. Okay, so now I actually wanted to have the longer version over here with the full explanation in brackets. That is why I have put 2. If over here I have changed, after my table reference I change it to 3, what will happen? It didn't work. Why didn't it work? Because my table reference is not included in the third column. So then you drag it to include the third column and it will work. Whoops, it didn't. Let's see what the issue is. Oops, I've not included 4. There we go. So now it's got just committed without the all previous events in bracket. If we change that back to 2, what happens? It will refer to the second column of your reference table and not the third. Does that make sense? Does everyone understand what the third number is in the comma? So the first number that you want to put in your VLOOKUP is the value that you're looking up. You put a comma. After that, you highlight the full table which has your reference data. After that, you put a comma and you say which column in that table you wanted to reference from. And now I will explain what this true and false is. If you put the word false, it will look for a ditto exact match. So if it can't find 4, it will give you an error. Whereas if you don't put false and you put true, it will find anything that looks like 4 and it will try and match that for you. So if you have 41, it might try and match that. But we don't want that. We want only when it's matching exactly, then only it should pull back my figure. So when you put the word false, it will look for an exact match in your code in your M2 column. Does that make sense? I hope so. So basically, if you girls can just try the vlookup function using just the second column for now, because your raw data won't have a third column. You can try and create the raw data and do it. But see if you can first get the concept of the vlookup just for the second column. I'll give you a few minutes to try that. Hello? Hiya. Tell me. Yes. Yes. Okay. So when you have a reference data on a VLOOKUP, um, you basically have to reference only one table. VLOOKUP doesn't have the functionality to try and reference 3 or 4 tables, if you know what I mean. So basically, even if this table is on another sheet, that's not an issue at all. So you can, when you say equals VLOOKUP, you go to the sheet in which your table is stored and you highlight that table. Okay, in the same way. So if your table is stored in a different sheet, I will do an example for you actually. So I will show you what I mean. It's a very good question. So now, for example, if I go to sheet 1, nothing is there. But if I just create some dummy data, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I put anything, I'm just going to put over here now 1 in. Can you see it? I think it's a bit of a time lag, so it's not showing you exactly what I'm doing as of now. But when after some time, you will be able to see what I'm talking about. So basically, I will go to my pivot table where I want it, and you say equals VLOOKUP, open bracket. So now again, I'm looking up the same thing, right? Code 4. Yeah, I go to M2, I put comma. Now instead of referencing the same table that I have here, I click on sheet 1 or any other sheet where my table is there. I highlight the whole table. I'll press F4 to lock it. And then now I'll press 2 because I want to reference the second column. I will write false because I want it to be an exact match. And then I will press enter. So then you will see that even if it is on a different sheet, it's no issue whatsoever. As long as you're referencing the correct table, it will work exactly how you want it to work. Does that make sense? It is relating a bit more. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about the lag. I don't know why Google Hangout does that. Yes? Okay. So what happens when you put true is if you have 11 in your reference table and in your raw data it is 1, it will say okay, 1 looks like 11, so I am going to match what is under 1 to 11. So it will try and find something similar and say ठीक है मेरे को 1 तो नहीं मिल रहा टेबल में, but what I'm going to do is try and find something that looks similar to 1. and it will put that in there. So there is a big probability that you might get something wrong, because you want only, like, if you want an exact match, then it will not look for something similar, it will only look for exact. So my recommendation is to always go for false. There are very, very rare cases where you'd want to look for something similar and put true and have a sort of vague match, because sometimes, like, people put spelling mistakes, or sometimes people put, like, things like that. So where the data is very unclean and you don't have time to clean it up, you may use the true function for that. But majority of the time, to be safe, I would always highly recommend using false. Um, oops. I'm really sorry, guys. I was on the call and it just got cut, so I'm just trying to call her back. Hi, I'm so sorry. I think it got cut. Um, Actually, to be very honest, I have not tried that, and I don't want to say yes or no because I don't want to give you false information. So leave that with me. The question for those who are listening in was that if you put zero instead of false, does that work in the same way, or does it work differently? And my answer to that is I have never used that personally myself before. So I will look into this and I will get back to you on that, because I don't want to say something and in case it's wrong, give you wrong information. So it's a good question. मैं चेक करके आपको जरूर गेट बैक करूंगी, ठीक है? All right, no problem. Okay, so bye bye. Okay, girls. So that was the vlookup function. Basically, on the phone before that, she asked if your reference table is on another sheet. How do we do that? So I have just gone through that whole thing and explained it as well. And I hope everyone has understood this whole concept of vlookup. So then what you can do is, again, as usual, you can just drag it down. Okay, now what is this concept of F4? Why am I asking you to lock it? The reason for that is if you don't lock it and you drag things down, Excel will think that you want. Okay, let me explain the concept of locking slightly differently. I'm not sure, some of you might be familiar with the concept of locking, but some of you may not be familiar with the concept of locking. So I am just going to explain it using a brand new sheet. Okay, so now, for example, over here I might have I'm just going to copy some data from the previous sheet. So we've got just something simple, just to basically explain the concept of locking to you guys. Why am I pressing that F4 and why am I locking it? Okay. Can you put the light on now? I can't see my screen. Okay, so now if I've got some data over here. Basically, I want this equals sum brackets just these three. Okay, I want this to be the sum of these three columns. So that is very easily given me answer of 14. So now over here, I am going to just copy it down because I want to edit my formula over here and say average. So instead of sum, I want average over here. So I can just delete the word average, delete the word sum, and write the word average. And I got 6. Now, if I click on this over here, actually it's moved the whole thing down by 3 because I have actually gone one column down. Now, I didn't want it to do that. I wanted it to be the average of the same 3 numbers. So if I had pressed F4 over here and locked it, yeah, and then dragged it down and then changed it to average, you can see that it remains the same 3 cells. It doesn't move down just because you've moved down one row. So Excel tries to be over smart sometimes. It thinks just because you've moved, you want you want it to move as well. So for example, let me give you another example. Over here, if I have a factor, okay, and I have two. Now over here I have some numbers 5, 6, sorry, 5, 8, 10, 12. I want in this column for all of this to be multiplied by whatever my factor is. Okay. So instead of doing equals 5 times over here, I want this also to be 8 times 2. But if I copy this like this, like I do control C and I do control V, if you click on this over here, it shows it's taken the row below 2. I don't want it to do that. I wanted to reference the same thing on the top because there's nothing below my 2. And I want this number to be the same. So when I click on B10, which is the number I want to lock, if I put a dollar sign before the B and after the B and press enter, and now if I drag this down, it has locked the 2. So even 8 over here is being multiplied by 2. Even 10 over here is being multiplied by 2. So it knows that that is locked and it doesn't need to be dragged down. Does that make sense? So basically that is the concept of locking. Okay, so that is why we lock our pivot table, because our table does not change with each row. We always wanted to reference the same table. We don't want when you go in the second row, it's trying to reference this range. Or when you go in the third row, it's trying to reference this range. It will get very confused. We always constantly wanted to refer only to this range. So pressing F4 is a shortcut for locking your range. And that way, it will never try and change it. So locking is a very, very useful thing in Excel that we need to be familiar with when we're doing data manipulation. All right. So that was the vlookups and that was the locking. Now the last thing on the left on our agenda is pivot tables. So sometimes, okay, but first, okay, I'm going to go back to my raw data because that's where we have got all our populations done. Okay. Fine. So now I've got a table which has everything populated, but I want to see it broken down nicely and I don't have time to write sum if and all that jazz. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a pivot table. How do I create a pivot table? And what is a pivot table and what are the advantages of a pivot table? So firstly, I'm going to just show you what to do and then I will go and explain in terms of how we use a pivot table. Okay. So first I will highlight all my data. Make sure your header column is highlighted. Otherwise it will be very complicated and the Excel gets very confused. When you're using pivot tables, you need to have a header on the top, which explains what each column is. Otherwise it won't work. Okay. Once you highlighted all the columns, you go into insert, which is right next to your home button. Then over there is pivot table. You click on pivot table. You get a pop-up box that will come up and it will ask you what is the range. You've already selected the range, so you don't need to change that because you've selected all your data. It says choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. So we'll just keep it in a new worksheet. That's fine. We don't want it in our existing worksheet. And we will just press OK. So then what happens is you've got a blank pivot table as of now. You don't have any data in it. It's just a pivot table. Now, what do you do? How do you use this pivot table to get information that you want? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same example, like, how we used a sum if to find out our sales, whether it was by PayPal or by cash. So we are going to do the same thing now, but using our pivot table. So now you guys can see the pivot table fields over here on the right. Yeah. So now that is called order type. That was our, whether it's a PayPal transaction or whether it's a cash transaction, it is the order type which tells us. So now I am going to take my mouse. I am going to hover over order type and I am going to drag the order type into the rows bit over here. Yeah. So I think I'm going to let everyone do this first. Then we'll move together. So go to your raw data, select all the data, say insert, say pivot table. Everything else should be okay. Just press OK. Once you get to the pivot table options, go hover your mouse over order type and drag it to your rows. Then you should see what I am seeing over here, which is you should have two rows. One says paid with cash and one says PayPal completed. But that is not telling us anything. Right now we just have two rows. So what about that? What we want is the total quantity of tickets that each of these has purchased. So then what we do is we go to quantity in our pivot table fields. In a similar fashion, you click, you drag, and where it says sum of values on the right hand side, you drop it over there. And now you can see you have sum of quantity. So that matches what you have in your raw data. You can go and check. Before when you use sum if, you had 82 and 108. And if you go back to your pivot tables, you can see again you have 82 and 108. It's swapped around, but your cash is still 108 and your PayPal is still 82. Yeah. Now in the same table, I want my also total money. How much did I get? What was the amount that I got for these? So you go to your total paid, you take that, you drag it down to your sum, you add that there, and you will get 108 tickets translated to 1,146 pounds. PayPal 82 tickets translated to 1,198 pounds and 52 pence. All right. So this way, without using any sum if, without using any formulas or anything, you got a pivot table and you within minutes got your breakdown. Now I'm just going to take the quality out because there is another very useful aspect of pivot table which I'm going to show you. Now if you look at our raw data, we have got an age range, right, where we have said over 26 and under 26. So now I want to see, not only do I want to see the cash tickets and the PayPal tickets, I also want to see my age range and see how that's different. So I am going to take the age range and drag it to my columns label. Now do you see what's happened? It says that I have 59 customers who are under 26 that have paid with cash. And I have 49 customers, over 26 that are under 26 that have paid with cash. So now it has taken my total quantity of tickets and not only has it split it by whether they've bought by PayPal or whether they've bought by cash, it is also split it by their age range. So within a glance, I can say, okay, I have got 28 people who are under the age of 26 who have used PayPal. Then you can start making insights. Are younger people more likely to use PayPal? Are younger people more likely to pay by cash? It allows you to do all these sort of things in a much easier, focused way. So you can play around with the data very easily. So now we can just do some simple percentages, We can say this equals your, let's not use get pivot. We'll save that for the next session. So if you say this equals B5 divide by your total cash sales, yeah, which is your D5. We're going to again convert that into a percentage like we did previously. It's 55%. Let's just drag that across. Oh, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Because we did not put a lock sign. So we're going to go back to D5. We're going to lock D5 by pressing F4. And we are going to again drag it across. So that means, what is this saying? 55% of all the people that paid by cash are over 26 and 45% of them are under 26. So according to this, the people that pay by cash are more likely to be older. Let's see how that compares with PayPal. So let's drag that down. Because we've locked it, it is looking at the total of the cash. So we don't want that. We're going to drag that down and then we're going to copy it across. Okay, so here it's saying 66% of all the customers that uh, that bought via PayPal were over 26, and only 34% were under 26. Yeah. So here also it looks like over 26 people are more likely to buy via PayPal. Now we can also look at percentages from a column perspective and see what that tells us. So now if we go in the same way and we say equals C, no, equals B5 divide by your grand total, which is B7. And let's lock it this time so we can drag it across. What is this telling us? This is telling us that all the people over 26 that bought a ticket, 52% of them paid with cash and 48% of them paid with PayPal. So for people over the age of 26, cash is a favorite in terms of how to pay. People over 26 are more likely to pay by cash and slightly less likely to pay by PayPal. Let's see how this works with the under 26. We'll make sure we drag our sum here so it's the same. So with this, it looks like it's a completely different equation. The people who are under 26, 64% of them are more likely to pay by cash and only 36% of them are likely to pay by PayPal. So what this is showing you is that if you're a younger person under 26, for you, cash is a better method of payment and PayPal is not a good method of payment. So that means if you're doing some marketing or something, you should try and market younger people with a cash option and older people and not a PayPal option. Whereas if they're over 26, it's only 52.48. So it doesn't really matter. You can give them both options. They seem to be comfortable with both. So this is how you can use pivot tables to manipulate data to try and give you a story. So here you have a big section of raw data. What have you done? You've used a pivot table to split the data into relevant methods and try and tell you a story to make decisions in terms of what you should do in your next event. Now that is a purpose of a pivot table. So guys, it's only 5 minutes left to the session now. I'm going to let you play around with this. I will just leave the last 5 minutes for any sort of questions, either on phone or through the question section. It doesn't have to be pivot table related, or it can be pivot table related also. But if you want to say something or you want to ask something, feel free to do now, because in 5 minutes we'll be ending the session. So I'm just going to be quiet now for 5 minutes. You can either play around with the pivot tables in the meantime, or you can do that later on. So I'll leave that to you, how you want to use this last 5 minutes of the session. Okay, girls, since there are no more phone calls or questions coming in, I am going to end this session now. I hope you found it quite useful. I would urge you to try and practice these sessions. You've got the raw data. If you get stuck at any point, you can feel free to email me with your queries. If there's enough interest, I will hold a follow-up session to go through any questions or doubts that people have, and we will do it that way. So a big thank you to everyone who joined today, and I hope you found it useful. Thank you. Bye bye.